After years of riding and reviewing these expensive bikes right here, I've definitely learned some brutal truths about mountain biking the hard way. Today, I'm sharing 10 of them with you to hopefully help you avoid making the same mistakes. Pay close attention to brutal truth number 5. That's one I definitely struggle with myself. And do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Let me know which one of these 10 brutal truths resonates most with you. Kicking things off with brutal truth number 1, you're probably overbiked, but that's okay. That sweet full suspension rig you're bombing around on, for like 80% of the rides you do, yeah, it might be overkill. But don't let those hardtail heroes or those rigid riders rain on your parade. They look at a bike like this with a 150mm Fox 36 fork up front and they say, that bike has way too much suspension travel for most of the trails you ride. Look, if your goal is to white knuckle it down every single trail you ride, find the hardest possible way to ride your local trails, then sure, get a rigid bike or be like one of those guys that are all about the newest gravel bike hype. But for the rest of us looking for the funnest possible way to fly down the mountain, a bike like this with 140 to 150mm of travel will do just about everything we need to. And sure, at times you're gonna be overbiked on some of the trails you're riding. But if that level of suspension is what's giving you the most smiles for your miles, then that's what matters at the end of the day. And let's face it, you guys, like mountain bikes aren't cheap. So, that whole N+1, the number of bikes you have plus just buy one more, you don't have to fall into that bullshit. You don't have to buy a different bike for every type of trail you ride, gravel, XC, trail, enduro, downhill. A capable trail bike like this will handle just about everything you want to ride. So at times you might be overbiked, but guess what? That's okay. Brutal truth number 2, pro level parts are not going to make you a pro level rider. We all, drool over those Kashima coated forks, those blinged out drivetrains, and don't get me wrong, they're nice, they look amazing, but let's be honest, those pro level parts with all those fancy pro level adjustments, yes, they make a difference. And if you're racing and fractions of a second is the difference between a win and a loss, then those pro level parts matter. But over the years of testing these different parts and components, I've come to realize that for most average riders like you and like me, the mid-range, drivetrain, that mid-range Fox-like performance or RockShox suspension is all we really need for the skill level we have, the speeds we're riding at, and the type of trails that we're really riding. Hey you guys, real quick, before we get into brutal truth number 3, that's a good one, you're not gonna wanna miss it, but if you guys wanna support the channel and become part of the Stoked crew, I have memberships. And my members, they get early access to my videos. I do some behind the scenes videos where I show you how I'm making my videos or maybe talk about some of the products and videos I'm doing next. And I'm gonna start doing giveaways. So I have these $200 set of Smith glasses. Smith sent me these, thank you very much. And I asked them if I can go ahead and do a members only giveaway. So if you guys are into that, if that's something you guys would be interested in, go ahead right down there below, click the ... more, and you'll see a link to join the Stoked crew, become a member, and for about the price of a coffee, I think I'm gonna give you guys definitely some value for your money. Plus, it helps me support this channel. I don't have sponsors. I'm not getting paid to make these videos, so it's really gonna help me go a long way. But enough of that. Let's get into brutal truth number 3. And this one might piss off a few people out there. Pro riders don't always know best. Let's talk about all those YouTube videos that go out when a new product is launched from, pro riders or professional mountain bike review companies like Pink Bike or the Lone Wolf. These are incredibly skilled riders. They have deep connections in the mountain bike industry. They get all the top level parts and bikes sent to them for free. They've been testing them for years, so they understand all the tiny little minute nuances between the latest dampers and the old dampers. every single micro little adjustment you could possibly do, they've thought of and they're ready to talk about. But their views and opinions are often skewed. First of all, they know all the people that own and run these companies. And second of all, they've been testing and riding on that top level, suspension and those top level components for so many years that, they're going on raving about these smallest little minute changes, things that, yeah, sure, they make a difference. But at the end of the day, the question that you and I have to ask ourselves is, will the average rider, the average guy like you and me, will they really be able to feel the difference? Is it really worth them spending their hard-earned money on that next part, that next component? I mean, some of these pros have been shredding basically since they're in diapers, racing, at the elite level. So you can't possibly expect for them to understand what it's like for average guys like you and me out there spending their hard-earned money and just trying to ride their bike and have fun on the weekend. So soak up all those pro rider skill videos for sure. Definitely watch the Pink Bike and Lone Wolf review videos. First of all, they're the ones that get those parts first. So I'm not saying their information isn't helpful, but take it with a grain of salt and really think about like the type of trails you ride, the skill level you're riding at, and what you need, and most importantly, what your pocketbook can afford to get out on a trail, ride your bike, and just have fun. And that brings me perfectly into brutal truth number 4. You don't need the latest parts and components. Let's just use this Fox Factory 36 fork right here, for example. Fox just released the newest 2025 completely redesigned Fox Factory 36 fork. All of those pro riders from Brutal Truth number 3 and those fancy mountain bike review channels are raving about this fork. And sure, it definitely has some improvements. They've definitely done a lot of things to change the Fox 36. The new Fox 36, the apex of all mountain riding. Increased stiffness, plushness, performance. That thing has gotta be so much better. I mean, this Fox 36 right here is pretty much obsolete, right? Wrong. So laughably wrong. I think actually like for most average riders like you and like me, right now, when they just released the newest Fox, 2025 Fox 36 lineup, right now is a perfect time for us to look at an older Fox 36 like this, find a good sale online, and snag a great deal on a fork that has worked amazing for years, and let's be honest, is probably all that a rider like you and I need. So don't fall for the marketing hype. Your perfectly good components you have on your bike right now are still crushing it. They're still allowing you to get out on your bike, ride those trails, and like I keep on saying, have some fun. On to brutal truth number 5, and this is the one that I'm definitely guilty of, the one I struggle with the most, and it's for all you people that didn't listen to brutal truth number 4. Upgrade addiction is real. We've all felt that itch, and it's a slippery slope. You start with a new set of pedals, then it's onto those matching grips. Next thing you know, you're buying color matched titanium bolts for your stem right here, and you're making sure that everything matches perfectly with that, new Fox 36 factory fork with those Kashima stanchions. But let's be brutally honest. Most of the time, buying that fancy part isn't necessarily just about how much better it's going to make your bike ride. It's more about the dopamine hit you get from purchasing that new part than it is about how it actually performs out on the trail. So next time, before you go to purchase a part for your bike, ask yourself, do you actually need this part or do you just want it? Are you getting it because it's actually going to make a noticeable difference in the way your bike performs out on the trail, or just because it's going to make your bike look better when you post that picture on Instagram? I am so guilty of this. So guilty. Who am I kidding? Like, such a hypocrite. Do what I say, not what I do. This is a brutal truth that I struggle with. Comment down below if this is something you struggle with as well. Brutal truth number 6. Comparing your riding skills or the bike you have to others, those people posted on Instagram, is gonna steal your joy. Social media is flooded with like highly skilled riders doing seemingly impossible things. And it's so easy to get caught up in the hype, like comparing yourself to their skill level or the type of bikes they're riding. But at the end of the day, all that's gonna do is rob your joy. Focus on yourself, focus on the type of riding that you're doing, the trails you ride, and your own progression. Get off social media if you need to, celebrate your own achievements, and just have fun, man. Brutal truth number 7, and this is one I know a lot of you guys struggle with. The weight of your bike doesn't matter, or at least as much as you think it does. A common question I get about my mountain bike is like, how much does that thing weigh? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I can't show that on screen. Nope. They'll judge me. We obsess over every gram on our bike. Like maybe if I threw like some lighter wheels, a lighter cassette, lighter drivetrain on this bike, it would somehow magically make the bike ride so much better. But the brutal truth is, the weight difference between those bottom tier and top tier components aren't gonna make that big of a difference unless you're some pro level rider counting split seconds on the clock. Plus, modern mountain bikes these days are actually getting heavier than they were before due to like the larger frame, just having bigger, beefier suspension on there, bigger, beefier, more capable brakes and rotors, more rugged components, frames that are designed to make sure that they're not gonna snap. But all this added weight actually increases your bike's durability and performance out on the trail. So please, stop caring about weight so much. All right, brutal truth number 8. We've pretty much hit the peak of mountain bike evolution. Let's go ahead and acknowledge the fact that like the leaps and bounds over the past couple decades where mountain bikes have came from back in the 90s to today is mind-blowing. We've gone from noodly frames with questionable suspension, dropper posts that don't even work, to modern trail bikes like this that can handle just about everything you throw at them. But lately, especially, you know, over the past couple years, like any mountain bike past, I would say, like in my humble opinion, like 2021, like you're talking about minute incremental improvements. So the bike industry, they're gonna keep pushing that latest must-have bike, the one bike that's gonna revolutionize the way you ride. But the reality is, we're kinda in an era to where it's more of a refinement than a revolutionary change. It's more of an incremental improvement. So that perfect mountain bike they finally develop one day in the future might just be a slightly improved version of the bike you already have right now. All right, brutal truth number 9. Mountain biking can be more mental sometimes than physical. Well, the physical demands of mountain biking are undeniable, especially when you're first getting into the sport. We often overlook the mental side of things. The fear of failure, the mental doubt when it comes to handling those technical sections of the trail. Oh, brakes. That complete freeze you get when you're looking at a gap jump and you're just trying to find the balls to finally send that thing. But learning to manage that fear, pushing past the unknown, finally sending that double gap jump, yeah, landing it, clearing it for the first time, man, that is one of the most rewarding parts of this whole sport. But let me know what you guys think. Is mountain biking for you more mental at times or just purely physical? I think if you're like an XC dude just chugging along for miles, or maybe riding your gravel bike, it can be more physical. But if you're riding a gravity focused bike like the trail and enduro bikes that I love, definitely more of a mental game. And the only way to overcome those mental blocks brings me perfectly into brutal truth number 10. Just riding your mountain bike up and down single track trails isn't enough. We all love the thrill of conquering that climb, finally making it to the top, and then knowing you have that whole section of single track trail to bomb back downhill. But how many times throughout that section are you actually challenging yourself, working on skills, and improving as a rider? Sure, you're getting like more trail awareness, you're getting more physically fit, you're getting better at riding your bike, but the only way to really improve is to stop session-specific sections of a trail. Maybe invest in like a little ninja kicker ramp like this to set up if you want to get better at jumping, to actually go out, session, and hit some jumps. Find those YouTube tutorial videos, the ones that are going to help you improve your skills. Set aside that time, because just riding that section of single track trail, unfortunately, it isn't enough. So there you go, 10 brutal truths about mountain biking. Leave a comment down below, let me know which one resonated with you the most. If you guys like these videos, I got another one right here you might want to check out. I'll see you over there. Don't listen to them. You don't need to lose any weight. You're perfect just the way you are.